So is the Prophet ﷺ really a pedophile? Subhanallah. By today's standard. Seriously, I'm not supposed to be doing these things, but no matter how many times you try to prove to these Islamophobes, they would always regurgitate the same thing. But then I see that this would benefit some. It would benefit some Muslims with weak iman. Hence why I see the need to make this video. So for the sake of argument, let's agree that Aisha radiallahu anha was 6 when she got married to the Prophet ﷺ, but remained in her parents' house until she became 9, then moved to the Prophet ﷺ's house, and then he consummated the marriage. Let's agree to this for the sake of argument, even though there are counter arguments, very strong counter arguments to that opposes the fact that she was much more older than that. Let's just concede to this argument. She was 6, and then the Prophet ﷺ consummated the marriage when she was 9. So now you see, this is the question I always ask these people that always regurgitate this lame argument that, okay, who is a pedophile? Though they are unable to answer me, and inshallah I'll be answering this question right here. And not to go far, we don't have to go far. I'll be using the normal English dictionary app, you have in your phone, so that we don't have to stress ourselves that much. Let's go through that app and see who a pedophile is. So simply come to my menu, then we click on English, and then we click on search. Then what is a pedophile, or who is a pedophile? The first one. So here we can see that it has 2 definitions on the noun. So it says a person aged 16 years old or older who has a mental disorder that makes him primarily or exclusively sexually attracted toward prepubescent children. Let's consider this one first. So the key word here is prepubescent children. So what is prepubescent? We would have to look at the definition. Prepubescent. So here it says before the age at which a person begins puberty. So now how do we know the age at which girls begin puberty? Because anything below that is considered prepubescent. So let's look at puberty. As you can see, the age is not here. So we'd have to go back to Google and see the age for girls, the puberty age for girls. So we'd come here and type in puberty age for girls. So the first result we see is, when does puberty begin? Puberty in girls usually begins between the ages of 8 and 13 and lasts for several years. As you can see, this is not a social construct. This is something that is natural. This is the biology of humans, not a social construct. So now the Prophet ﷺ consummated the marriage when she was 9. So she's already above the age that is considered prepubescent. Because prepubescent is the age before puberty, and the age before puberty is 8 below, because puberty begins at 8. So by the first definition, the Prophet ﷺ cannot be considered a pedophile. So let's go to the second definition. So here in the second, it is informal, an adult who is attracted to anybody below the age of consent. So now what is the age of consent? For girls, the age at which a person is legally considered to be mature enough to engage willingly in sexual intercourse. So as you can see, there is no age fit all here. This definition is strictly limited to what a society considers as something that is legal, someone matured enough to engage in sexual intercourse willingly. Okay, so this is what a society considered. Again, it is a social construct because it is not a one thing fit all. When we go to Niger, for example, the age of consent, okay, is 13. And when we go to other countries, for example, the UK, someone that would, get a pass in Niger would be arrested and considered a criminal or a pedophile in the UK. So now we'd have to go back to the societies of those times and look at what they consider to be mature enough to engage willingly in sexual intercourse. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it is surprising that Aisha radiallahu anha was initially betrothed to someone else before the Prophet ﷺ, to someone, I think Jubair bin Mut'im. So this points to the fact that it is a norm within that society that girls within that age limit, and in fact this is one of the reasons why some think that Aisha is far more than 6 when she got married to the Prophet ﷺ. And again, looking at even up until the 17th century, when you look at the commentaries on the laws of England by Williams Blackstone, you would see that there it is written clearly, girls age 7 can be betrothed or given out in marriage. But today, as you can see, obviously that's not the case today. So would you consider those people of those time as pedophile? No, of course, because it is allowed within that community. So finally, as Muslims, we do not consider these as morally objective. Why? Because we are talking about the divine will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ married Aisha because it was a divine inspiration for him to do that. And we take our objective morality from the Sunnah, from the Quran and the Sunnah. So we do not take it from men, because men do change. And as you can see over the years, they have been changing over the years. And tomorrow it might be 30. If it is 30, what do? The people of that time would consider us as pedophiles. So we do not take our morality, objective morality, from people. We take it from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So by the second definition, the Prophet ﷺ cannot again be considered as a pedophile, because it is a norm within his society. But as we Muslims believe, what is a norm then is a norm today. You see, it's obvious that despite using the modern standards on the Prophet ﷺ, it is only a pig that would still consider him ﷺ as a pedophile. وَيَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. You see, Islamophobes have no better argument except this. And they really try to blacken the character of the Prophet ﷺ, upon whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ, there is certainly for you, في رسول الله, in the Prophet ﷺ, أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, an excellent pattern, لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُ اللَّهَ, to those who hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ, and the last day. So this is the person that they want to blacken his character. See, this reminds me of one fake ex-Muslim that once said that, she used to be a Muslimah, and then the Prophet ﷺ was her role model, until she realized that the Prophet ﷺ married a 6-year-old girl, then consummated the marriage when she was 9. So this was enough for her to leave Islam. It's funny because you've never been a Muslim to start with. So saying you left Islam because of this, because you thought the Prophet ﷺ is a pedophile, وَيَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ, it's not enough reason for you to leave Islam and embrace Christianity. Because even in Christianity, when you look at the Old Testament, Rebecca was just 3 when she married Isaac, the son of Abraham. Even the Jews considered the fact that yes, Isaac married Rebecca when she was 3.
This is the 5 books of Moses. This is not Talmud, this is not this is 5 books of Moses. Everybody, this is it. And she went with Eliezer, and she also brought maidservant with her that took care of her. So you say, wait, so Holy Yitzchak, our forefather, married a 3-year-old? Yes.
So saying that you left Islam because the Prophet ﷺ married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated the marriage when she was 9, and embraced Christianity because that's where, morality has been taught. It's only hypocrites that do this, because in the Bible, when you go to the Old Testament, as the rabbi, conceded to the fact that yes, Isaac married Rebecca when she was 3. Some argue that she might be 6, but then it doesn't change the fact that she was a child, according to your standard. So you see, like I said, Islamophobes have nothing against Islam, nothing intellectual against Islam, except this regurgitated piece of crap that their forefathers did. To be honest, there's really nothing to say to these Islamophobes, because they would continue to regurgitate the same thing no matter how much evidence you should give these guys that the Prophet ﷺ is not a pedophile. وَيَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. They would never concede to that, because this is their only means they can take people. They believe that they can take people out of the fold of Islam. But I hope as Muslims we've learned 1 or 2 things: that the Prophet ﷺ is not, even by the modern standard, is not a pedophile. And when Islamophobes try to bring this topic, please point them to this video. And if you like this, don't forget to like and then subscribe. With this, I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.